Yo, Norfkhan with another video. Today I'll be taking a look at a CBR post named 5 villains Mirio could defeat and 5 you can't. This post was made on June 3rd, 2020, which was basically the height of the season 4 anime, and thus my opinion will be wholly based on Mirio showing at the time of the anime. So don't be any reference to Mirio fighting high-ends or anything similar to that. I don't really want this video to be too long, I just want to touch on some of the characters that they believe Mirio could defeat and those he can't, and basically I'll just go down the list, say whether or not I disagree, and give my reason. Okay, so first we have Toga. The blog basically says he can beat Toga, which is true. I believe Toga comfortably could be put at like maybe comparable to Eraserhead, since she does have a moment in the Overhaul arc where she like kind of finesses him after basically beating up Rocklock. But generally speaking, yeah, I do think Mirio kind of just folds Toga. She couldn't even lay a finger on him, and he just body, yeah. 9. The first villain that Mirio cannot defeat according to CBR, Dobby. So they basically kind of write out a sort of scenario in which Dobby's dirty fighting style is taken into account, since he'll go after civilians and ultimately result in Mirio losing. And I guess that could be valid, but I don't actually think it's very practical to throw these characters into like these fabricated scenarios. And I think that based on what Dobby has shown up until this point in the anime, there's nothing to really indicate that he'd be able to really beat Mirio in a fair one-on-one fight. I'm just going to disregard the whole fabricated scenario thing and just assume this is a 1v1 fight. And I do have Mirio winning this, since by this point we only really see Dobby face off against the likes of Eraserhead and Black King, both of which are UA teachers and pro heroes, and they both prove basically physically superior to him in terms of speed. And we know that Eraserhead basically concedes that Mirio is better than him in any way. So yeah, at this point in the series, I do think it would be dangerous for Mirio to get hit by Dobby's flames, but I don't even necessarily think Mirio would get hit thanks to permeation as well as his superior speed. So he'd probably just run down on Dobby and punch him in the solar plexus or something like that. At 8, we have a villain that Mirio can beat, Muscular. So whereas I think Mirio does basically outperform Muscular in every way, in terms of technique and speed, there's one big issue. Muscular's durability and strength is almost unmatched in the series, as he's able to take an 100% smash and keep standing, as well as even overpower a weaker 100% smash later in that fight. So this blogger doesn't really give any real reason why Mirio would win other than the fact that Muscular wouldn't be able to touch him. But the real issue is whether or not Mirio would be able to actually damage Muscular if he could land a hit. There is one issue with Muscular, is that his muscle fibers don't really cover his entire body. So I guess if you take into account that his head is usually just open and Mirio is far superior to him in terms of speed, that Mirio could hit his unenhanced head and I guess maybe, I don't know, knock him out with a punch to the jaw, since we don't actually know how strong Muscular's durability is outside of his muscle fiber usage. So I'll leave that one on the fence. If you think Muscular's head durability wouldn't scale to his muscle fibers, which is logical, then sure, I can see Mirio beating him. But other than that, I don't think Mirio can necessarily hurt him in regard to his feat of taking 100% smash. At number 7, we have another villain he cannot defeat in Kirigiri, which is pretty weird. They seem to think that Kirigiri would have an edge, since they both have the ability to go intangible. But that's pretty weird considering Kirigiri is literally slower than Stain, and Stain was able to literally slice his arm and paralyze him by drawing blood from him. So clearly he's not always intangible. And then there's also the big weak spot on his neck, which is literally just like a metal neck brace that is a clear target, and that anybody with any form of deductive reasoning could figure out is a weak spot for him. So being as Kirigiri is slower than Stain and has a very big weak spot, I don't see why he would beat Mirio. It seems their reasoning would be that Kirigiri isn't constrained by ethics or protecting others. But again, I don't really agree with the fabricated scenario. So yeah, Mirio would probably just fold Kirigiri pretty bad. At 6, we have a villain he can beat, Moonfish. I don't think I really have any issue with this. This is most likely facts. I think Mirio would just beat the shit out of Moonfish, and yeah. At 5, a villain he can't defeat. This is the main reason I wanted to make this video, and that is because they literally say Mirio cannot defeat Overhaul. Right, so this person literally says they already had one match thus far, but imagine a battle between these two with no distractions. That means no area for Mirio to protect and no lackeys to back up Overhaul. Then they basically say we still don't think the battle would end in Mirio's favor. Overhaul's quirk is simply too powerful. It would be too dangerous to Mirio to try and land any hits, as doing so would expose him to Overhaul's attacks. And this is completely stupid, since we actually see Mirio, without even having the ability to phase, literally goes hand in hand with Overhaul and outspeeds him and beats him in terms of technique in every way. So you're telling me that Mirio can completely dominate Overhaul and his lackeys while protecting Eri and also being under the effect of a quirk that makes him drunk, yet you think that without these debuffs he would lose somehow? And on top of that, he has his quirk. So why on earth would he ever even be touched by Overhaul? Now I think that might have actually been the worst reason for any matchup I've ever seen. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. 4, a villain he can beat, Stain. Yeah, I agree with that. Stain wouldn't even touch Mirio, at least based on his showings at this point in the series. So yeah, he would just beat him up. 3, a villain he can't defeat, Tamura Shigaraki. So this is weird. They don't actually give any reasoning as to why Shigaraki would win. They just say he is one of the big bads of the series. And because of that, there is no surprise that Mirio is currently not at a point where he can defeat him. And I don't actually know if they're referring to Shigaraki in the manga at this time. So I'm just going to assume this is based on his season 4 anime showings, where he is blatantly shown to be comparable, if not weaker, than Overhaul. And as I already touched on, Overhaul gets literally pooped on by Mirio. Not to mention Shigaraki has to literally touch Mirio for him to actually do anything. And I don't actually think he can do that. So I mean, it's pretty bad placement. But speaking of bad placement, at number 2, a villain he can defeat, Re-Destro. Now this is very random considering that everything up until this point has basically been anime. And then all of a sudden there's a manga exclusive character thrown in here. So the thing with Re-Destro is we've never actually seen him combat anybody that damages him on a traditional level. What I mean by that is he's never been in any fight that would definitively tell us how strong he is in terms of durability, since he's only been shown to fight Shigaraki, who literally bypasses durability, as well as Edshot, who does the same thing via folding his body into a size so small that he just slips through your skin and damages your internal organs. So it is pretty weird, but based on what he's shown in terms of his actual attack potency and strength, and being that he can literally let off blasts that with just the shockwave alone could just decimate city blocks, it is probably more likely that his durability would scale to that. And thus I don't really see Mirio being able to hurt Re-Destro. I guess if this is just a separated battle and Re-Destro doesn't start off in his 100% form, then I guess Mirio could take him out before he has a chance to transform. But other than that, I think it is pretty weird to just say that because Mirio can phase, he could just beat Re-Destro, who relies on long range attacks, but we don't actually know if Mirio could actually hurt him. And then 1, a villain he can't defeat, All For One, of course. I don't have any contention with that, and I agree if that is correct. I don't know why it even needs to be stated. But anyway, that'll do it for this video. If you enjoy anime or My Hero Academia and like power scaling or any type of analysis, please leave a like and subscribe. I know I promised that manga Deku versus Miles Morales video, but I haven't actually found the time to do too much research into it. So instead, I'll be dropping a few videos in preparation of that video dropping in the coming week or so. So stay tuned and turn on post notifications if you're interested. Anyway, it's been Norf. I'm out. Peace.